Morning, beautiful artisans. Thank you for joining me this Saturday morning with a nice hot cup of coffee. There's no better way to start your Saturday morning. I have tons of projects in front of me, and many of them I'm going to share with you. However, there's a few questions I want to answer because they're super important and they have to do with the Boro Sashiko or creating Boro with your scrap fabrics and or creating Kiwandi with your scrap fabric. So where on earth do you get scrap fabrics if you're just getting into this? And let's say you haven't been a lifetime sewer and you're like, okay, where am I going to get all these fabrics? Well, a very good place to begin is, yes, the thrift shop. However, I'm going to give you a secret about shopping for fabrics. First of all, in the thrift shops, sometimes they have an art and crafts section, sometimes they don't. Now, if they don't, they many times will have racks of blouses and dresses and even blankets or sheets. And sometimes some of these specific items are on sale, even like $1 just to get rid of them. Sometimes they may be $2 or $3. One thing you don't, in my opinion, want to do at a thrift shop is spend like $20, $25 or $30 to get a dress because you want to use it for fabric. Now you may want to do that. However, that, in my opinion, will put you in a different bracket altogether on what you're spending. And there's wonderful ways to just recycle. Look, even these curtains, these are from the thrift shop. These are cotton. Okay, these are cotton. And look, they have bird design. I love that design. So I love it so much that I want it up, part of my aesthetics as I'm working. I love, love that. Those panels, two large panels, were $3. Those were $3. And this is how I do it. Now, in the thrift shops, I will go for the racks where, like, this t-shirt was $1. This was $1. And this is a nice quality t-shirt. I plan to, when this t-shirt is worn out, this will go into my fabric pile. I will wash it, dry it, put it in my fabric drawer. Now, with that said, um, you want to watch the aging and the amount of time you have fabrics in the drawer. You want to clean them all out, 6 months to a year if you're not using these, and move them along. Because when fabrics sit, a fabric will age. Okay. So now another place I get fabrics is at, yes, the typical Walmart and Joann's. However, really look around at those stores because at Walmart, I was just looking at just the fabric section, and they have bundles over there of fabrics that are scrap fabrics. So the pricing is different, the amount and variation of fabrics you get is different. And in Joann's, um, I had no idea until my son told me that they actually had scrap fabric bundles that go on sale in a bin. And the reason I didn't know about that, even when I went in the store and I asked, they pointed to the back of the store for me. Well, I went back there and I still couldn't see that bin. And I went up to the lady and asked her. It was in such an obscure place. I was looking right past it. So if you're anything like me, you might want to ask for help. So another place other than Joann's or Michael's or Hobby Lobby, and not other places are not what you're thinking. There's a few places in town that do upholstery. They do special work for people with fabrics. Go in and ask them if they're throwing away those fabrics or if they have an on sale bin. And they do. They most likely do have an on sale bin, or they will, if they're throwing them away, they're more than happy to just give you a bag, I'm sure. So some places may take a little more investigation, but the quick answer and the quick way to do is, yeah, go to your either local Michael's, Hobby Lobby. Well, not so. Michael's has some fabric. I should say really Joann's or Hobby Lobby, um, or Walmart, and start getting your fabrics there. They're very low prices, and the thrift shop, it is an amazing place to get your mix of fabrics. Just go grab, a few blouses if they don't have your art and crafts section. So that's the scrap fabric secret. And that's a quick way to get some nice scrap fabrics. Now, another question that came in was, I did a video where I was showing you how actually it was on this piece. I pulled this piece out for you. This is a Kiwandi piece. I think it was this one. We were going around and someone asked the same question that I asked years ago. Well, what on earth are you doing? You must be sewing around those individual pieces with running stitches. The question was, are you going around the piece and just stitching like that, doing your running stitch, or are you stitching each piece individually and then doing that, either or? So this is the answer. With my research, I will share first with you my knowledge. With learning how to do this, I have seen people out there demonstrating two ways, or three ways, different ways. Some of them will lay their first row down and they will actually sew that piece into place as they're going. I have seen that. Now, I have also seen where they lay the piece and they just start their running stitch. And running stitch meaning that no, you are not going around each individual piece. Now, however, with that said, I have seen it a third way, and this is a way I've done it. Now, first I'm going to just show you this up close. See, these stitches are going around in a square. If you feel that one of these pieces are off, like not fully adhering, excuse me, you can go to the method of reinforcing your stitches. In other words, you can go around again. Now, if you want to reinforce it with doing some individual stitches around that piece, in my opinion, that's totally fine. And the reason I say that, unless you're making a piece like this, now look here. See, I'm going all the way around. I am using my Sashiko stitching as my design to create a Boro piece. Now, when people watch my videos, they ask these questions because they are sometimes hearing me or seeing me use mixed methods. And that is what I do. I may take a piece and I may implement a little Kiwandi layout and design and a little Boro, and then I might use my Sashiko stitching, which is what really brings your piece home. Like Sashiko stitching in Boro is what creates your Boro. In other words, if I took the same piece and I didn't do my running stitches in the shape of the leaf, but I just stitched around it with the machine the Western way, that's not Boro. That's just creating a quilted flower piece, okay, or a quilted piece. So anyway, because of the Sashiko stitching, this is a Boro inspired piece. And I say inspired because I am not an expert and this is not from 500 years ago. It's not an authentic Boro. It's a Western styled in Boro, really. It's a Boro piece created with blended fabrics, really. These fabrics are not necessarily actually these might be cotton, but many times you'll have blends. So Boro, authentic Boro is created with organic fabric like cotton and wool, and then the thread is even a Sashiko thread, which is twisted in a certain way. This is not Sashiko thread. So it's synonymous to it, however. But so that's what I did in this case. This is, yes, a running stitch. Now, this piece, this was a piece in an exhibit. I'm going to turn this, hopefully I turn it the right way. You probably saw this on my channel somewhere. But so these are mushrooms. This has paint in it. I painted it also. So this has a mix. Here I'm using the running stitches to adhere this specific defined piece. Same with the mushrooms. The mushrooms I'm using freestyle. Here I'm using more of a running piece. I could have, if I chose, I could have done like my Kiwandi and just stitched every single piece on in a square running stitches, but I chose to do them individually with running stitches. So there's many different ways that you can create. Now, when you're creating Kiwandi, if you're trying to stay with the tradition, a Kiwandi inspired, what they do, what I have seen more artisans do than not, is go around in their running stitches, because these pieces will be sewn down. If you're doing these stitching each row, if you're doing them consistently as well as you can, uh, giving them a little bit of space. Now, someone was asking about space. There's two different types of space we're talking about in Kiwandi. We're talking about laying out your fabrics. And when you lay out your fabrics, you have about 1/8 of an inch of overlap to make sure you're catching each fabric when you're going through your rows. And then there's the space of your stitches. That is up to you. You want to, if you're going to, if you do go about a fingernail or 1/8 of an inch, or whatnot between those, and you feel like that spacing is not doing it, it's not adhering the way you want, it's not bringing your piece together or sewing these pieces and their edges down like you want, do another row in between that. Do your rows closer. I have seen artisans do their rows super duper close. And then I've seen others do them spacier than this. So, and it's fine. Now, really, it is somehow fine. It's going one direction. That's go. Now, what I like to do, and what you'll see in many of my pieces, and I didn't bring a piece. Oh, yes, I do. This is a piece from a very long time ago, and this is a Boro. This is a Boro piece. You see how I have hardly any running stitches here? That's fine. Look at the piece, though. I stitched around the edges, and look at this piece. I did freestyle. This is a person. This is supposed to be a an image of Japanese farmers from way back in the 1800s. I am so impressed with how they created Boro in poverty. And today people get thousands of dollars for Boro pieces. Um, so anyway, this is a Boro piece. And you see where I play with my stitches. Basically, what I want to say is there are in creativity, once you have the basics down and you've practiced it a little bit, you can mix and match your, if you want, your methods, because that's what I do. I'm very creative in the way I create pieces. So I jump out of that box. And at first it's like, oh, should I do this? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do this. And I'm going to see what it looks like. If I don't like it, then I'll go back home, you might say, to the basics and stay with that method. But in art and creativity, I love to encourage you to try different things. So, but that is, I hope that that answers that question a little bit better. I gave a lot of detail on it. It might not be the right detail you're looking for, but please let me know. And I'm happy to answer with the Kiwandi piece. Yes, what I did was I stitched in a square consistently all the way around. And there is a video on this showing you that. If you cannot find that video, it's not too far back, let me know. I'll find the link or I'll do another video for you. Because guess what? We have some requests for Boro pieces I have to make, the coin bags. And so I can set up another Kiwandi piece for you also. So anyway, you have a beautiful day and stay safe.